Ji, Namaskar, a very good morning to all of you, to all the participants in this one day CRE program. And we are very fortunate to have you all on this platform, and we are very much thankful to RCI also to give us this opportunity to organize a CRE program, one day CRE program. And I hope that this will be an enriching, knowledgeable sessions for you. There will be total 4 sessions today and 4 hours CRE that will give you 4 CRE points. So 1 hour for learning for 1 CRE points. It will be like this. So on behalf of Durga Bhai Deshmukh College of Special Education, University of Delhi, established and run by the Blind Relief Association, Delhi, I welcome you all to this one day CRE program. And this first session which I am going to take you is on the need and importance of TLM. And as you know that this is a learning by all the participants coming from different parts of the country. So it is a bilingual kind of presentation. I will use both the languages, Hindi and English. So there may be participants from far south or far east. They may be learning in English, and rest of them may be in need of some material in Hindi also. So I will also speak some Hindi also. So इस तरह से आप सभी का स्वागत है. Let us start, or we come to the first slide, and in my presentation we have got certain slides here which I will discuss one by one, and at the end I will give you some opportunity to ask some questions. So first you listen, and then you have some queries. If you have some queries, then you arrange and on a paper, then at the end of the session you can ask. So let us talk of the inclusive classroom first, and let me tell you, inclusion or inclusive classroom, I tell you one thing, that inclusion is not only should not only be limited to the classroom. It is actually a way of life. So we should be always talking of inclusion in all the spheres of life, not only the classroom or the education. केवल शिक्षण में इसकी बात नहीं करेंगे, केवल क्लासरूम कक्षा की बात नहीं होगी, बल्कि ऐसा होना चाहिए कि हम उसको पूरी लाइफ पे देखें, जितना भी हमारे स्फीयर्स ऑफ लाइफ है. वी कैन थिंक ऑफ, यहाँ हम बात कर सकते हैं थोड़ी सी, वी कैन थिंक ऑफ ए स्टूडेंट हु इज़ फॉर से now 18 years of age, and if he has gained attained all this his or her education through a special school board. मान लीजिए पूरा का पूरा समय इसका स्कूल में, स्पेशल स्कूल में, इन ए प्रोटेक्टेड एनवायरनमेंट गुजरा है, और देन यू से ओके यू आर नाउ 12th पास, देन यू गो फॉर योर this the whole life is yours, and you do graduation and all the आपको you have to face all the difficulties of life. आप जाइए, आप अकेले अपनी लाइफ में जाइए. सो एक ही सिचुएशन है कि एक ऐसा बच्चा जो शुरू से ही एक प्रोटेक्टेड स्पेशल स्कूल के एनवायरनमेंट में रहा है, एंड फॉर हिम और हर इट इज़ गोइंग टू बी वेरी डिफिकल्ट कंडीशन टू फेस द लाइफ. एंड एट द सेम टाइम यू थिंक अनदर बॉय, किसी और के बारे में बात करते हैं, हु इज़ फ्रॉम द वेरी बिगिनिंग he is in an inclusive society. He lives in his family and then goes to the school, learns there, and again comes to the family. So he gets the family members' love and affection, and all the the activities. He is taking participation in all the activities that is in the family after the school hours, and so he is getting all the affection, all the love, all the care that the one is getting from the family. That is also very much needed. So it is not only classroom affair, it is actually related to the, I should say that it is related to all the spheres of life. So let us think this way. And even then, let us just think of a classroom which is inclusive nature. So it can be a place, एक ऐसी जगह हो सकती है where all people are learning, जहाँ पर सभी लोग सीख रहे हैं, है ना. So all people, when I say all students are learning, all students mean all type of students All types of students mean, I mean, they are the students regular school, attending regular schools, and they are having all the sensory organs working together. And at the same time, we are having students who are having some kind of disability also. So it is a place where all kinds of students may be there. It may be a chance that in your classroom one or two kind of students are there. Not all types of disabled children may be there. So it is just what should I say, your luck. And at the same time, it may also possible that in your classroom you have got all types of disabled children. So it's a different scenarios altogether. You have to just think of all the students in the classroom. Now, for learning by all those students, what we need is the curriculum, and curriculum should be very much flexible. It should be flexible. Flexible, when I say flexible, it means जब मैं पाठ्यक्रम की फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी की बात करता हूँ, इट मीन्स इट रिक्वायर्स different kinds of accommodation and the adaptations, and the need of the students is very much to be considered. हम यहाँ पर बच्चों की नीड की बहुत ध्यान रखेंगे. And say for again we take one example. Say there is a boy or a student or a girl, whatever it is, if he is not in a position to understand the concept of multiplication, मान लीजिए कि वो गुणा की बात को नहीं समझ पा रहा है, then it is very difficult for us to teach him the division and those even higher, I mean, concepts like LCM, HCF. It will become difficult for us. So whatever he is having the entry behavior where he is now, so he needs first attention on this addition first, because he wants to learn addition. And even before, he needs a concept of the numbers. So पहले हम उसको numbers की बात करेंगे. First we talk of numbers, then the addition, then the different operation, then we can even go for this higher mathematics. So भले ही आपका पाठ्यक्रम ये कह रहा हो कि आज हमें LCF और HCF की बात करनी है ना? If it is saying that we have to take LCM today, but the need of the hour is that our student is not able to do the small operation, the basic operation. So we need to deal those operations first, then we can go to the today's topic. So this is kind of some flexibility we have to follow in the curriculum, because we want the students to learn. You see, there is no teaching if the learning is not happening. आपको मालूम है कि अगर बच्चा नहीं सीख पा रहा है तो फिर टीचिंग के ऊपर प्रश्न उठते हैं. तो इसलिए to avoid those kind of questions, we just focus on the students standard. बच्चा हमारा कहाँ पर इस समय लाई कर रहा है. Then we go further. Nowadays there is a lot of technological advancement we are having computers, and from a distance of 3000 kilometers, students, now at this time you are listening to me. So we can use of technology and the computers, the internet, the mobiles we are having, and there is the facility of by the government, that all those necessary equipments to be given to the students, so that they can just learn. Just remember the previous 2-3 years of corona period, where all those these regular classes will not be held. Then we organize so many classes online method. So we use the technology. So we can use the technology to make the class inclusive, or so that all the students can learn sitting at even different places. Since the TLM, we focus on TLM, teachers learning material. This can also be adopted or made or prepared, you can say, with the help of technology that we will discuss later on. And of course the classroom is full of diversity. हमारा जो क्लासरूम है उसमें बहुत ज़्यादा विविधता है. It is very much diversity is there. So diversity means the students may be from different places, maybe from different states as well. Think of a classroom in Delhi. So parents are coming from different states. So the language may be a barrier. There must be a classroom language which all the students can understand. So full of diversity. Maybe a language is one part, another maybe a disability, maybe or some other kind of the educational background, the family background, all those come together to make the diversified learners group. So we are having in our classroom the full diversity, and we have to all those, deal with all those students. So in an inclusive class, we have to do so many things, and how we can approach, how we should do, or how we can do is that is the next point is the last point is in the slide, is the need of UDL based TLM. So UDL is actually a universal designed learning, and TLM is, as I told you, teaching learning material. So teaching learning materials should be based on universal design of learning. So this is what we have to do. Now we are going to the second slide, and we discuss the what is UDL. UDL actually is universally designed of learning, as I told you. It is a multiple means of representation. Actually, if a teacher has to give his presentation, or he has to teach the different concepts to the students, then what he has to do is, you see, there are diversified learners in our classroom. कई अलग अलग तरह के हमारे बच्चे हैं, है ना. अभी हम बात करेंगे on the different learning styles. So you will understand how one can, you see, we go to the some historical monuments. You see, let us take an example, and there are so many things written on the stone there, but we are not we don't like to read there. We just give some money and hire and guide. He reads the same thing for us. The main thing is that we want to learn through listening. And some maybe person, maybe some kind of person that he is, we want to learn through seeing. So there are different kinds of learner. So learning is also very much diversified as far as the learning style is concerned. So what I want to say is that you are having different kinds of learners in your classroom. So what you have to do is that you will present your concept or the theme, whatever you are going to teach, in different ways, so that all types of learner can have some kind of input. if मैं सुनकर सीखना चाहता हूँ, मैं देख कर सीखना चाहता हूँ, मैं करके भी सीखना चाहता हूँ. Student may be there who wants to learn through some activity. So we design the activity, some kind of activity, some kind of engagement by the students, and we design there. So this is called universal design of learning. So we have to be very much different kind of, we have to design different activities. As I am saying, people are listening. If I present something on this screen, the students can follow the screen also. If I demonstrate here something, then you can, in the classroom at least the students can be the part of that activity. So every kind of learner is getting some kind of input on the same topic. So this is what is called as universal design of learning. Then the second point on, we focus on the universal designing on what we are going to teach, the themes, and how we are going to teach, the expressions, the action, what we are going to act in the classroom, what we are going to express in the classroom. There are different ways of, as far as the different teachers are concerned. So we have to think of, let us talk of two more points which is written here. Text may be in written form. It may be in written form, or it may be in the speech form. Again, keeping the different kinds of learner in our mind, we are going to present the document in different kind, you can say. And then suppose we are having a visually impaired learners in our classroom. Let us focus on one kind of disability. And so even in the visually impaired category, we are having totally blind students, and we may be having low vision students as well. So we have to present the material in braille and in large print as well. In the large print, preparing material in large print, it is easier for smaller classes. But if you go to the higher classes, the material is so much. The book is very heavy, containing 130 pages. And there is no picture, all time written material. So if you want to make the large material of this book, it is again becoming very difficult. So what we can do is we can use of the technology, that is again the use of a magnifier. So magnifier is a device which is used by the low vision students. So you are only giving 200-300 rupees price, one magnifier to a particular student, then with the help of a device he can use all the books. So this is again you are using the technology for making access to the material for a person or a student with low vision. So this is what is I just wanted to tell you, that we have to be very much versatile or diversified in our presentation. Then again there is a question of a teacher wants to be reciprocated by the students what they are learning. We want them, whether they learn or not, we want to know them, so we want to assess. So again in the assessment process, there should be different kinds of ways when the learner is giving you his or her replies. So again we may be thinking of giving the paper in braille, and reply is also again in braille. Then what we can do is we are giving the paper or the question paper in large print or print with the help of a scribe or whatever. He reads the question, then again tells the scribe or writer to write down for his paper. So this may be, there are many ways of representation, there are many ways of writing back, or you can say for the assessment purpose. So there are so many things we have to keep in mind. Actually what I want to tell you now is that we have to follow universal design of learning. हमें एक सार्वभौमिक एक ऐसी भूमिका तैयार करनी होगी जिससे कि हम सभी बच्चों के पास अपनी बात को पहुंचा सकें. So again we move further, that what methods what we follow in the same classroom. You know, this is the help, our purpose is to make students learn, and with the help of teaching learning material we make it happen in the classroom. So what method we follow in the classroom? Just taking one by one, we talk and taking advice of each other. There are so many students there. Usually what is happening, that if the students which are seeing student can see the same picture or diagram that you put on the blackboard or you draw on the blackboard at the same time, but there are different kinds of students also. So what they need, their particular kind of that teaching learning material. So talking and taking advice from different students in the classroom may be helpful. Again there is one more point of cooperative teaching. Now I will tell you one thing here, that it may also possible that a visually impaired teacher is there. It may also possible that the teacher is himself is visually impaired. हो सकता है कि अध्यापक स्वयं दृष्टिबाधित हो और class inclusive हो. Class is inclusive where the students, the sighted children are there and the teacher himself is a visually impaired person. So it may be a need of the hour that we take and the help of another person, maybe another teacher. So it may be a team arrangement. Actually the teaching learning process or learning by the student is a team game. It is individual's responsibility. It is the responsibility of the teacher to teach, but the whole teaching, non-teaching, principal, management, all these, it's a team game. There are so many psychologists also play a role in between. It may possible that a particular student is having different kinds of problem, the behavioral problem. Then you need to take some help from the counselor. So there is a team game. It is a team game altogether. So we need to follow the cooperative teaching, cooperative learning, and we again have to be flexible. हमें दोबारा एक बार थोड़ी सी flexibility लानी होगी in our instructional strategy. What a teacher follows in the classroom is the instruction. So instructional strategy is again it has to be flexible. And what we do is to become the flexible kind of in our instructional strategy. What we can do is we take help of accommodation and the adaptation required. It may require that we need to accommodate and adapt. Now what these two words mean, I'll just tell you. Accommodation is something to acquire the other's point of view. If somebody is coming, some students is facing some problem, then if I tackle it, then it is accommodation. So depending on what the need is there of the student, and just to accommodate him in his learning, we need to adapt इन अवर इंस्ट्रक्शनल स्ट्रेटजी. हमें हो सकता है कि अपनी स्ट्रेटजी में कुछ बदलाव करना पड़े. एज आई टोल्ड यू, बात यह है कि what kind of adaptations just I want to tell you is that, again, if we come to the teaching learning material, so we need to prepare the material in different kinds. Now we are preparing the material in visual form, in auditory form, in tactile form, in different kinds of accessible forms. So these are the adaptations we are making. So we need so many accommodation and adaptation strategies in our classroom teaching, just to teach the concept which I am going to put today. जो आज मैं लेके बच्चों के साथ जाना चाह रहा हूँ, उस बात को बच्चों तक रखने के लिए we need accommodation and adaptations in our strategy. Then there is very important point I want to tell you is the training of general education teachers. General education teachers, just give me 1 minute, let me put my fan on. Yeah, thank you, I am again here. So what is happening is that it is a very much need of the hour that the general education teacher, you see, in this seminar, I hope that all of you or most of you are the special educators. They need all these things earlier also. In our in-service, pre-service training, you learn all those things. But there are so many teachers who are teaching different subjects in inclusive classroom, having different kind of disabled children, but they are not trained to deal those students. So training of general education teacher is very much required. It may possible that among you all there may be so many general teachers as well, so this training is going to be more helpful for them. Definitely for so many other purposes it may be helpful for all the participants. So what we follow is that we want to tell you that general education teachers is also, and the training thereof is also very much required. We many of the times we train the same kind of special educators again and again, but I tell you that the training of general education teachers is more required. And as I told you, a team game or the team teaching or the cooperative teaching earlier, it may possible nowadays that in so many schools you see the government is employing different special educators, 2 or 3 in number, but in this school there are 10, 15, 20 general education teachers. So there may be a condition that the general education teacher may be in need of that special education teacher to deal the session. Again, I am raising a issue here. The teacher is himself is a blind person and learners are sighted. So in this situation, again, there is a need of taking help of a sighted teacher with the visually impaired teacher as a team to deal the subject. Actually, after all, whatever works is the approach. जो भी काम कर जाए वाली बात है ना? Whatever works, anything we can follow. So a team may be there. So these are some methods that we follow, and just to achieve our goal of learning in the classroom with the help of teaching learning material, there are some kind of support required. कुछ हमें support चाहिए होगा. Let us go to the another this slide. Supports required. What is required is that the material should be in braille, as I told you earlier. If the students are visually impaired, then we require the material should be in braille. Suppose a situation is like this, that there are students in your classroom and everybody is having his own book, print book, but my students, this particular disabled or differently will better we call it, is not having a book in the braille. So how can you expect the same kind of learning from that particular child or the student in the class? So there is again a need of all the material to be made available in braille and in other formats as well, maybe in the large print, maybe in the audio format. There may be different kind of diversified learners, as I told you. So in every kind we need different सपोर्ट मटेरियल, हमें अलग अलग तरह का मटेरियल चाहिए होगा. अगेन द मैग्निफिकेशन इज फॉर दैट student with low vision is required. Then there may be a student with having severe behavioral problem. As I told you, in the classroom it may be a situation that a student is having a severe visually impaired, severe behavioral problem. So for this again I needed teamwork here. I may take some help from a counselor or the principal or maybe some senior teacher, that how to deal with this particular student. So the intervention is required, and intervention should be as early as possible. You all know the intervention should be as early as possible. So you see कि आपने सुना होगा कि का वर्षा जब कृषि सुखानी, है ना, मतलब जब समय निकल गया फिर उससे क्या फ़ायदा होगा. सो इंटरवेंशन शुड बी एज अर्ली एज पॉसिबल. अगेन व्हाट वी आर गोइंग इज वी आर टॉकिंग ऑफ अ लैंग्वेज दैट आई टोल्ड यू अर्लियर. लैंग्वेज शुड बी language should be according to the classroom situation. So language support for a student, and we want to teach them the skills of language. There are 4 skills actually, and they can be categorized into 2. The one is receptive, another is expressive. So receptive are listening and reading, and expressive are speaking and writing. So these 4 kinds of skills that we deal with in the language classroom. So this is again, teaching all those skills to a particular student is our requirement. So we need material, the study material in the accessible format. Then there may be even more difficult children may be there with us. There is again a kind of disability that we discuss here is dysgraphia. It is a learning disability condition where students are having difficulty with the language. So it may be a problem. So what we can have is some kind of technological word processor or a service of a scribe, as I told you, writer service दी जा सकती है. Then again we take help of assistive technology devices. हमें यहाँ पर assistive technology का support लेना होगा. और there is a concept called language lab. You see, in the classroom there are many situations where students are hesitating in saying something. What they think कि लोग क्या कहेंगे, what others will say, है ना. What peer pressure is something very much affecting the personality of a student. Peer pressure एक बहुत बड़ा एक ऐसा फैक्टर होता है कि साथी क्या कहेंगे, इनको ये भी नहीं आ रहा. So that dealing with the peer pressure, what we do generally is in the classroom that the students are not able to answer you. They don't reply. They don't ask questions just to what others will think. So the language lab may be helpful here. What we can do is that you see the language lab concept is that there are so many computers connected to each other, or there may be one-to-one communication. The teacher you see pronounces those words, and the particular student listen to that, and he also copies and again pronounces. Only teacher listens. So this pressure of what others will react, how they will react, what they will say is something reduced if we take help of the technology and the language lab. So there are so many things that I just discuss you in detail, and these are some kind of resources support required. Then we move further. We need to plan to make teaching learning material. Now we are taking towards, now I want to take you towards the teaching learning material more. हम यहाँ पर आपको ज़्यादा शिक्षण अधिगम सामग्री की तरफ ले आना चाहते हैं कि what should be the number of teaching learning material. You see, if we have one diagram, that too in the print or in the visual format, you put in the blackboard. There are so many sighted children are there. They are very easily seeing the material, but at the same time we are having different difficult children there. They are not the suppose again we are having a visually impaired child in our classroom, then what will happen? So we have to have a embossed material. उभरी हुई सामग्री, स्पर्शीय, tactile material should be there. So teaching learning material should be tactile, should be embossed. And how we will make, you see, this is very easy. All you know that we just draw a triangle or a circle or whatever that you want to tell, then you put a thread on it. आप एक धागे को चिपकाते हैं with the help of gum or whatever, and it just raised, है ना, and the student can feel. एक हमारा दृष्टिबाधित बच्चा उसको छू सकता, so he can feel what is this. It is a circle. What is radius? What is diameter? The relation between the diameter and the radius. So all it can be very easily, felt by a visually impaired person. So the teaching learning material should be in the accessible format. Now we are talking of the number of TLMs. You see, you are having more number of students in our classroom. So what will happen? It will take more time of yours. If you have one TLM and more students, then what you do is you go to one student, tell him what it is. Then again you go to some other student, then again. So you will utilize or waste, I can say, your time. So if you are having as number of copies of teaching learning material as you are having your students in the classroom, जितने बच्चे classroom में हैं उतने अगर teaching learning material हैं, then it is easy. You just distribute. You put a visual diagram on the blackboard and distribute this learning material in the embossed form to all the visually impaired learners, or even the intellectually developed children, intellectually disabled children, I want to say. Those who are having a less kind of cognitive abilities. So if you give individual teaching learning material to that child, it is becoming more useful. ये ज़्यादा आपकी help करने वाला है. So as you are having the number of students, you must be having the number of teaching learning material. Now you can say that you are, sir, आप तो काम बहुत बढ़ाते जा रहे हैं. It is not like that. Actually, we have got a very useful machine which is called a thermoform machine. A thermoform machine is a kind of machine which will give you multiple copies of the same one tactile material that you have developed. So you can take 10, 20 or whatever number of n number of copies of that tactile material with the help of a thermoform machine. So thermoform machine will give you a number of copies. So this issue is we have just discussed. Then we come to the learning styles. This again here as a WAC analysis is written here: visual, auditory and kinesthetic. There are three kinds of learner that we have just discussed earlier also. Visual learner are those who are learning or prefer learning by seeing. Auditory learners are those who prefer learning by listening, and kinesthetic learners are those who are listening or learning the things by doing some activity. So there may be different kinds of learners, and we have to be diversified enough to present our material that every child or student gets his kind of material. So keeping this back analysis in our mind, we make the teaching learning material. हम इस बात को ध्यान में रखकर कि हमारे बच्चे अलग अलग प्रकार के हैं, हम learning material को बनाएंगे. Now again, you see the types of disability. Disability we have discussed at large, and you all know there is sensory disability. Visual impairment and hearing impairment are sensory kind of disabilities. Then there is another intellectual kind of, the ID which we call it. Earlier we call it mental retardation. So this word we do not use now. So intellectually disabled and maybe both, maybe multiple categories. A child may be having with multiple categories of disability. So anything may happen in your classroom. So depending on the type of disability, again you need to plan the preparation of teaching learning material. Now, and one more thing, what subject you want to teach, what subject you are going to teach. That it may be geometry, it may be trigonometry, maybe geography, maybe language, and in all the subjects we need teaching learning material. आप सबको मालूम है, we all have studied the Piaget's theory. And Piaget's theory says that at the student level, say for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 standards, students are concrete learners. They learn with the concrete material. The concrete material is what is called as teaching learning material. So in this way, we see the classroom before secondary level. I mean up to 8th you can say. If you use teaching learning material, it is very much useful for the students to learn, because they learn concretely. वे मूर्त वस्तुओं से सीखते हैं. So there is a need to learn, there is a need to prepare. And how we will prepare, what you will prepare is decided by what you are going to teach, what subject you are teaching. So let us take one example of arithmetic. Can we take geometry example, because geometry is more difficult for a person with at least visual impairment. So हम सब ने we have studied Pythagoras theorem. Pythagoras theorem के बारे में हमने सबने पढ़ा हुआ, and we have been taught that perpendicular square plus base square is equal to hypotenuse square. ये we have studied, and हमने ये देखा कि लंब का वर्ग आधार का वर्ग और कर्ण के वर्ग के बराबर होता है. How? हमने ये कैसे सीखा था? जस्ट सोचिए जरा, हमने ये कैसे सीखा था. तो जस्ट हमारे मन में एक तस्वीर उभर कर आएगी कि देयर इज अ ब्लैक बोर्ड था. ब्लैक बोर्ड पे सर ने जस्ट ड्रॉ अ राइट एंगल ट्रायंगल ए बी सी, एंड he says AB square plus BC square is equal to AC square, and giving the example of AB is equal to 3, BC is equal to 4, AC is equal to 5. So 3 square is plus 4 square is equal to 5 square. 3 square 9, 4 square 16, and 5 square is 25. So this is Pythagoras theorem that we studied. Now this theorem we have to teach the visually impaired person. Now what we can do? We just draw a right angle triangle, then we put threads. Then we have to do further something, that we draw squares on the base, perpendicular and the hypotenuse. So the square on the, if we take it base and perpendicular. So perpendicular, let us take is 3. So 3 into 3. So 3 centimeter length and 3 centimeter breadth. We make a square. And if we again put threads on the unit squares. So the number of unit squares here is 9. You can feel it. आप जब उस 3 सेंटीमीटर लंबी भुजा पर एक वर्ग बनाएंगे और वहाँ पर इकाई वर्ग को ढूंढेंगे. If you find the unit squares, you will find 9 unit squares will be there. Again at the base you will find 16 unit squares. Unit squares means जिसकी लंबाई और चौड़ाई 1 सेंटीमीटर, whose length and breadth is 1 centimeter, is called a unit square. So you will find 16 tactile unit squares on the base. Then you find 25, because it is 5. So 5 centimeter into 5 centimeter. So every centimeter will give you 1 square, unit square. So 25 squares will be there. So you are seeing that 3 square plus 4 square is equal to 5 square. It is very much easily can be taught to a visually impaired student in your classroom with the help of a tactile material. So यहाँ हमको केवल ये करना होगा कि स्पर्शीय सामग्री तैयार करनी होगी. स्पर्शी सामग्री तैयार करनी होगी, and we take help of those material. And what material we should use, है ना, the soft material. हमें बहुत ही soft material इस्तेमाल करना चाहिए, like thread, है ना. So because a visually impaired student has to learn through its fingertips. उसको fingertips से braille पढ़नी है, और अगर वहाँ पर कोई hard material होगा, it can harm. So we have to take soft material, and for making this, जिसकी मैं बात कर रहा था, एक मैंने एग्जाम्पल लिया, और आप देखें यहाँ पर. So we need to plan to make a teaching learning material. हमें हर स्टेप की प्लानिंग करनी होगी. Then we will make it accordingly. Then we will present in the classroom, and I find no reason why all the students will not learn what we want to teach. Further, we move Before planning, we just go to the TLM, teaching learning material. Actually इसके बारे में थोड़ी बात और थोड़ी कर लेते हैं. Teaching learning material, actually it facilitates the process of learning. What does it do? It facilitates, ये और ज़्यादा उसको आसान बना देता है. ये और ज़्यादा इसको आसान बना देता है कि ये बच्चा आपकी बताई हुई बात को ठीक से समझ पाएगा. It not only helps the student, it also helps the teacher. It helps the teacher to instruct. ये अध्यापक की भी सहायता करता है कि कैसे वो इस बात को बच्चों को सिखाएगा. So teaching learning material will be helping students as well as teachers. क्योंकि टीचर का जॉब क्या? What is the job of teacher? Just to teach, just to give them the concept, and this material is helping you for the students to learn the concept. So it is not only helping the student but also the teacher. Then it helps the learner to understand the concept. जो concept है, जो बात आप बताना चाह रहे हैं, है ना, वो उसको समझने में, सीखने में उसे आसान होगा. It helps the teachers, it facilitates the process, it helps the learners, it helps the teachers to instruct, and these teaching learning material are readily available in the market. पहले से ही उपलब्ध हैं. We can purchase, and in your school enormous amount of number of teaching learning material are there, so we can. Nowadays there are many kind of toys, educational toys are there. In our childhood, if I remember, मेरे बचपन में कोई ऐसा खेल खिलौना खास नहीं था. But nowadays there are so many kind of educational toys and teaching material are there. And if it is not, then we can prepare, and we have to adapt. Adaptation is a word, means just adapting yourself to a new situation. अनुकूलन एक ऐसी बात है जिसमें ये कहा जाता है कि हम नई परिस्थिति के अनुसार अपने आप को ढालेंगे. So adaptation is required. What is adaptation for this particular kind of situation? That we are having students with different kind of disabilities in our class. हमारे क्लास में ऐसे ऐसे बच्चे हैं जिनको हम ये बातें सिखाना चाहते हैं. So this is new situation. New situation is that we are having children with disability in our classroom. हम वहाँ पर अपने बच्चों को, चूँकि हमने वहाँ पर हमारे क्लास में रूम बच्चे हैं, so ये नई परिस्थिति हमारे लिए आ गई. So we have to adapt. So we have to make teaching learning material embossed, raised, है ना, which can be felt. So, and also some globe, and a globe as example of teaching learning material which is available in the market. Then you purchase it and you just adapt it according to the need, and you present it to the students. There may be maps and educational toys, and we have to adapt. हर समय हमको adaptation करना होगा, because students are facing difficulty in learning through vision. देख कर नहीं सीख पा रहे हैं चूँकि बच्चे, इसलिए we need adaptations. So we will take some example in the form of some pictures I will show you the pictures of some teaching learning material which I have prepared, or I have instructed our students to prepare these teaching learning material. Just one or two for example, and I will also at the end of this session will give you some one or two small videos how we can use in the classroom situation. So let us have some example. This is the example of word planning of letters. You see, if you actually there are so many circular cardboards fitted on a particular point and written different letters, and the braille is also there. So a visually impaired child can also feel and learn. So if you just rotate those circles, then what will happen? Some words will be formed. Ka-ma-la se kamal banega. Ka-la-ma se kalam banegi. So this kind of teaching learning material, the very basic standard, small children, uski baat ho rahi hai. Then we further move to another teaching learning material which is for opposite words. You see, children learn games. They want to play all the time. So what we are doing, we are using their play time in learning. So you see, there is a wonderful, beautiful looking kind of teaching learning material is in front of you, and what is happening? You just ये कमल की तरह है, and there are so many leaves are there, and there are words are written there. Brailleization is there, है ना, ब्रेलीकरण वहाँ पर है, ब्रेल में लिखा हुआ है. और देखें just opposite, if you are looking at the teaching learning material, so just opposite आप देखेंगे तो छोटा बड़ा, small large, है ना, ऊपर नीचे, पुरुष स्त्री. तो this material may be used when you are teaching them opposite words. These words can also be written in English language or whatever language you are using, your mother tongue. So you use those languages just to give the concept of opposite words. So this is one again we are having this teaching learning material. Then we move further to next slide is that of again a teaching learning material, and I said that small students want to play all the time. So these are the games which you will introduce in your classroom, and just उनको ऐसा लगेगा कि खेल चल रहा है और उनको सीखना हो जाएगा. इससे टू वे दो तरह का लाभ आपको मिलने वाला है. और वो आपकी बात को सुनेंगे. They just listen to you. They just come to you and say that sir teaching learning material दिखाइए. So again you use this and if it is possible to see, here is there's a clock kind of concept. There are two needles are there, and one is window is cut there. Then at one end you are seeing A, and in the bottom there's a word anak, A for anak. And if you rotate this, then you will find a, you will find ang, you will find angur. So certain letter and a word made from that letter. So this kind of teaching learning material is again very useful, and further it is just to give the concept of alphabets A, B, C, D, and the corresponding braille dots combination is written there. So it is a kind of teaching learning material that you can use in your class when you want to teach them alphabets. And there are enormous different numbers of many numbers of teaching learning material that you will make, prepare and use in your class. There are two or three just example. For example, I just want to show it to you. Then we further move to, don't worry, we just show you another one or two videos also how to use them in the classroom. Just I want to tell you is what is the role of teaching learning material. So just concentrate all these slides, and this particular slide I am telling you that what is the role of teaching learning material. It becomes, or teaching becomes easier. शिक्षण कार्य आसान हो जाता है. Teaching becomes easier, number one. Number two, as I told you, it helps in understanding the concept. बच्चे के द्वारा concept को समझना में सहायता मिलती है. It helps in understanding by the student the concept. Teaching becomes easier. शिक्षण कार्य आसान होता है. Tactile teaching material are more suitable for visually impaired learners. दृष्टिबाधित बच्चों के लिए स्पर्शीय सामग्री ज़्यादा उपयोगी है. इसी जो बच्चा दृष्टिबाधित है, डेफिनेटली वो विजुअल लर्नर नहीं होगा. A visually impaired student is not a visual learner. He is depending more on auditory learning and kinesthetic learning. वो ज़्यादातर समय श्रवण पर और छूने पर निर्भर है. So इस तरह से आपसे पूछ सकते हैं कि what kind of material is more suitable for visually impaired learners? So it should be tactile. It should be embossed. It should be raised to be felt with the help of your fingertips. बच्चा हमारा उस बात को अपनी उंगलियों के अग्रभाग से छू कर समझ सके, ऐसा मटेरियल होना चाहिए. एंड हाउ मेनी कॉपीज आर देयर नीडेड फॉर teaching in your classroom? Then again we have to have multiple copies. As we are having the number of students in our classroom, we have to have the number of copies of teaching material in our classroom, just to save your time. अपना समय बचाने के लिए आपके पास जितने बच्चे हों, अगर इतनी कॉपीज़ होंगी तो ज़्यादा अच्छा होगा. एंड फाइनली मैं आई जस्ट वांट टू टेल यू द प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ कंस्ट्रक्शन. There are certain principles of construction which in next sessions you may also be knowing in detail. Just to give a brief introduction, actually when we deal with disabled children or differently abled children, we need to follow this kind of principles in our teaching. Number one is duplication. What is duplication? We want to duplicate the experience, just duplicate the experience to this difficult child, difficult in learning. जो बच्चा सीखने में कठिनाई महसूस कर रहा है उसको हम we want to give exact experience, learning experience. Actually in the clever classroom what we get is we simply get learning experiences. हमको अपनी कक्षा में सीखने के अनुभव प्राप्त होते हैं. So in those learning experiences what we follow is just duplication. A teacher tries to duplicate. When you present a material in embossed form to a visually impaired person along with a diagram on the board, it means you are duplicating the experience. आप उस समय अपने अनुभव को डुप्लीकेट कर रहे हैं. When you give braille book to a student and other students are having print books, what we are trying to do is we are just duplicating the experience. अगर मेरे पास बुक नहीं है तो हाउ यू कैन एक्सपेक्ट मी टू लर्न? सो डुप्लीकेटिंग द एक्सपीरियंस. एंड डुप्लीकेशन मीन्स जितने बच्चे होंगे उतने आपके पास मटेरियल होने चाहिए. दो अर्थों में इसका प्रयोग होगा. एक तो जो अनुभव आप दे रहे हैं देखने वाले बच्चों को वही अनुभव देना है आपको दृष्टिबाधित या अन्य दिव्यांग बच्चों को. एंड सेकेंड मीनिंग ऑफ दिस डुप्लीकेशन इज दैट you have to have number of copies as number of students you are having in your classroom. जितने बच्चे हैं उतने ही टीचिंग लर्निंग मटेरियल पे होने चाहिए. This is what is the meaning of duplication. Number two, there may be a condition, there may be a position where you are not able to duplicate the experience because students are facing difficulty. आपको हो सकता है कि बच्चों को डुप्लीकेट करने में परेशानी आए, वे आपको फॉलो न कर पाए. देन यू नीड टू मॉडिफाई. आपको मटेरियल को मॉडिफाई करने की आवश्यकता है. रूपांतरण करना है. व्हाट इज मीनिंग? यू आर गिविंग समथिंग इन प्रिंट एंड यू आर गिविंग द सेम थिंग इन एम्बोस मटेरियल. यू आर मॉडिफाइंग इट फॉर दोज पर्टिकुलर चिल्ड्रन. आप उन बच्चों के लिए इसको मॉडिफाई कर रहे हो. Suppose you take a map from the market. It is visual. And if you put some threads and paste it there, just to make them understand what is equator, where it is equator, and Tropic of Cancer. यदि आप उनकी तमाम स्थितियों को बताना चाहते हो, you just have pasted a thread. It means you are modifying it. Since you cannot duplicate the experience, there is difficulty in duplicating the experiences, you are modifying it. It may possible कि modification से भी काम न चले. Then you need to substitute. You use a globe to give the concept of the earth. आप पृथ्वी के कॉन्सेप्ट को समझाने के लिए ग्लोब का यूज करते हैं. Means you are substituting. आप सब्स्टिट्यूट का प्रतिस्थापन कर रहे हैं. आप यू आर सब्स्टिट्यूटिंग द टीचिंग लर्निंग मटेरियल. सो फर्स्ट वी ट्राई टू डुप्लीकेट, देन देयर मे बी ए नीड टू मॉडिफाई, देन देयर मे बी ए नीड टू सब्स्टिट्यूट. एंड आई विल गिव यू a beautiful example of a globe which is modified. Actually it is a modified substitution. The two principles can be used at the same time. यदि आपने ग्लोब खरीदा, मैंने सब्स्टिट्यूट तो पहले ही कर दिया क्योंकि पृथ्वी तो दिखा नहीं सकते, तो ग्लोब दिखाया, सब्स्टिट्यूट किया, then you modify it. So it is an example of two principles together being used in this teaching learning material. Then there is fourth principle also, which I just tell every time, that omission. Omission is something, if you find the dictionary meaning of omission, it means just to leave, छोड़ दिया जाए. But we need not to leave the concept. Actually, as I told you earlier, to do division, we need to learn subtraction first. So in order to learn division, there is a need to postpone the concept of learning division till the time the students has the concept of subtraction. So it is simply postponement. It is not omission. हम पूरी तरह से उसको हटा नहीं रहे हैं. हम कॉन्सेप्ट, ये तो फिर बड़ा आसान हो जाएगा कि पूरा सिलेबस ही कठिन है तो हटा दिया जाए, ऐसा नहीं है. Just to postpone the concept till the time he has the prerequisite skills to learn the concept. जब तक कि वो उस पूर्व अपेक्षा उसके पास अपेक्षित कौशल है जो उसके पास नहीं है, तब तक के लिए उसको हम आगे बढ़ा रहे हैं. So this is called as omission. So kind of just I just told you there are four principles. So it is in one word, you can say mods. And let me tell you that in the earlier stages, when the students are in 1, 2 or even lower standard, then there is a need of duplication more. In the middle of the classes, 3, 4, 5, 6 standard I am talking about, you can do your job with the help of modification and substitution. आप अपने काम चला सकते हैं modification और substitution से. But in the secondary level, जब बच्चे बड़े हो गए and all the limitations are removed, सभी तरह की बाधाएं दूर हो गई सीखने की, बच्चे के पास adapted material है, बच्चे के पास जो भी सपोर्ट रिक्वायर्ड है वो है, देन ही विल, जैसे आप पढ़ाओगे डुप्लीकेट, ही विल फॉलो द डुप्लीकेशन, है ना. इन हायर क्लासेस, पहले ही आपको मालूम है हायर क्लासेस में ज़्यादा टीचिंग लर्निंग मटेरियल जाता नहीं है, क्योंकि बच्चे लेक्चर को फॉलो कर सकते हैं. तो जैसे ही बच्चे बड़े हुए, दिव्यांग बच्चे भी बड़े हुए, दे कैन फॉलो यू, वो आपको फॉलो कर सकते हैं. एंड फाइनली एज आई प्रॉमिस्ड यू, यदि देखें ये चलता है कि नहीं, अगर ये चल पड़ेगा तो बड़ी अच्छी बात है. ये एक वीडियो है छोटा सा, अगर ये चलता है तो आप इसको ज़रा एंजॉय करिए.
Wet, meetha, sweet. So this circular, this disc is moving and a new word is coming. In the same way, if you rotate the second one, then another word is coming. So it is katur, har. So chiefly har, komal ka katur, in Hindi you can say. So like this we can use teaching learning material to give the concept of or opposite words. Thank you.
If we can find one more video for you, if I can make it run for you, if it is possible. I just made 1 or 2 videos for you. So thank you very much. This is all from my side. If you are having some questions, then we can take. Otherwise, I will hand it over to RCI again. And if you are having some queries, you can ask. Any RCI authority is listening to us? Hello, sir. Anyone controlling authority from RCI listening to us? My session is over. Hello. 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 Can somebody help me?